Thank you, Mr. President. The VDPA emphasizes the important work of human rights defenders and underlines the need for states to create favorable conditions at the national, regional and international levels to ensure the full and effective enjoyment of human rights. We are thus particularly alarmed at the tone of negotiations on the resolution on protection of human rights defenders taking place during this session, with some governments showing themselves to be more concerned with regulating NGOs than protecting human rights defenders. The objective of the resolution is to address the protection needs of human rights defenders. Instead, many states seem intent on using the resolution to selectively quote from, rewrite or restrict the clear provisions of the Declaration on Human Rights Defenders, which was adopted by consensus after being carefully negotiated over a 13-year period. Limiting protection to persons working on so-called universally recognized rights turns the VDPA's affirmation of universality on its head. Universality means all human beings are entitled to all human rights. Universally recognized signals a desire to deny human rights to those working on issues that a government doesn't recognize or agree with. This proposal undermines Article 7 of the Declaration, which explicitly affirms the right to advocate the acceptance of new human rights ideas. There was a time when the right to development was seriously questioned. The relation between human rights and a healthy environment, or human rights and peace, continues to be questioned by many states. A further issue of concern is the proposal requiring NGOs to disclose sources of funding, which is completely unrelated to the protection of human rights defenders. During the drafting of the declaration, a proposal to only allow funding for human rights defenders from a source publicly known was debated at length and was specifically rejected. Government should not use this resolution to reopen those discussions. The protection of human rights defenders should not be linked to their sources of funding. Finally, the proposal to underscore without qualification the obligation of human rights defenders to conduct their activities in accordance with national laws overlooks the reality, highlighted by the Special Rapporteur, that national laws are frequently misused to stigmatize, harass and impede the peaceful activities of human rights defenders. The Declaration makes it clear that human rights defenders work in the framework of national legislation and that these laws must comply with international standards. Every single issue currently in dispute is already addressed by the Declaration. Attempts to co-opt the resolution to rewrite the Declaration jeopardize the resolution itself. If a strong resolution protecting human rights defenders cannot be adopted by consensus, it will be an embarrassing failure for the Council and a clear indication to the world beyond these walls of how this Council views civil society. Thank you, Mr. President.